Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're doing something, well, kind of different. We're looking at a literary artifact so incredibly brief, it's actually shorter than your average grocery list. But here's the kicker. Every single word carries immense weight. We're going to unpack the DNA of a text based entirely on its framing. It's like a giant puzzle, and we'll see exactly what we can learn from just a handful of carefully chosen words.
All right, so here is the exact core text fragment we're working with today, The School for Sympathy, a story by Evie Lucas. And that's it. Literally the whole shebang. It is this sparse, almost mysteriously tiny fragment. But, as focused learners, I know you appreciate how sometimes the absolute smallest amount of data can yield the most fascinating insights if we just look closely enough and really structure our thinking.
Section 1. The literary artifact. So, our source specifically frames this as excerpts from the lessons of the School for Sympathy. Now, I want you to focus on that word excerpts. That word is incredibly powerful here. It instantly tells us that we're only getting a glimpse, just a fragment of a much larger narrative. It totally builds our curiosity right out of the gate. We aren't getting the whole picture. It's more like a curated selection. It's like peeking through a keyhole into this specific universe.
Okay, let's actually break down this citation into its core components to see what facts we can solidly establish from these few words. First up, we have the theme, the lessons. Second, the setting, the school for sympathy. Third, we establish the medium, this is a story. And finally, the author, E.V. Lucas. Just from a title and a subtitle, we've extracted a complete structural framework. This sets a really solid baseline for us, leading us directly into wondering what this school actually is.
Moving right along to Section 2, Lessons in Sympathy. Now, what's really interesting about this is the combination of these three words, school for sympathy. I mean, we are so used to schools for mathematics, schools for languages, or the sciences, right? But a school dedicated entirely to sympathy? Wow. It forces us to just stop and meditate on how highly unusual it is to pair a rigid, structured institution with a purely organic human emotion.
And this brilliantly illustrates the inherent contrast at play here. Notice the juxtaposition. Lessons and school implies structure, a set curriculum, metrics, tests, rules, the whole 9 yards. Meanwhile, on the flip side, sympathy is an emotion. It's about spontaneous connection, organic feeling, shared vulnerability. So how on earth do you merge the two? How do you take something as wild and unpredictable as human empathy and literally force it into a syllabus? It totally begs the question, what does it actually mean to be formally schooled in sympathy? Really think about that for a second. How would one actually grade a deeply human feeling? Do you get an A for crying at a sad story? Do you fail if you don't feel enough? It's a concept that completely challenges our very definition of what formal education is supposed to achieve, and frankly, what it might be completely lacking.
All right, let's shift gears to Section 3, a story by E.V. Lucas. The crucial point here is this one word, story. This isn't a manifesto. It's not some dry pedagogical textbook on emotional intelligence, and it's definitely not a psychological essay. It is a narrative. This suggests that these lessons in sympathy aren't just abstract theories floating around. They are lived experiences embodied by characters. And honestly, we learn best through stories, right? Because stories naturally generate the exact sympathy this fictional school is trying to teach. And of course, we absolutely must acknowledge E.V. Lucas as the architect of this mysterious curriculum we're decoding. By placing this philosophical concept into the hands of a storyteller, Lucas essentially guarantees that the lessons are going to be explored through the messy, beautiful reality of human behavior, rather than just, boring academic instruction. Which brings us to our final part, Section 4, the unanswered questions. A perfectly crafted title sparks the imagination without giving away the plot. So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. What lessons would a school for sympathy actually teach? Seriously, what would be on your schedule for a Tuesday morning? Empathy 101? Advanced compassion? This single sentence of source material has done exactly what a great story should do. It has completely hooked our curiosity. It leaves us incredibly eager to seek out E.V. Lucas's full text and discover those lessons for ourselves. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning, keep structuring your learning, and I'll catch you next time.